was your race?
It was good.
Did you like it?
I don't think so, and that's a tough call for me. Last year was my very first triathlon ever, and so this time it was the second year repeat of it, and I didn't enjoy it as much. And here's the reason why I think I didn't enjoy it as much. Because this time I was comparing myself to everybody else and trying to compete against them instead of just seeing how I could do and whether I'd do a good job or a bad job. So I think my lesson learned was I need to focus more on how I did as an individual instead of comparing myself to others.
Thanks. How do you feel about it?
How do I feel about? Okay, use a different pen though. How do I feel about what?
You're about it.
Enjoy.
About it, I used a pronoun, not a noun, because I already did race. So it was my pronoun.
I felt good overall, I suppose. I did. I met one of my goals of the swim length of time. I thought take me 8 minutes, and I did it in 7 minutes and 30 seconds. And the bike was faster than it was last year, but it was really windy. So I felt bad as I was riding. I was putting down 300 watts, which is 150% of how long I usually can bike for an hour. And I was going like 18 or 20 miles an hour into the wind when usually I'm going 27 miles an hour. So I felt bad about that. And then the run consequently felt slow as well, even though it was faster than last year because my legs were tired from having to bike so hard through the wind.
Were the competitors nice?
Yes, there was a really nice guy. So there's one guy, and I'll keep the names to myself to protect the innocent, but he was right behind me the whole time on the bike ride. He was like 30 seconds behind me. And then he came through the transition at the same time I did. So we started the run at the same time. And he was 6 seconds, 10 seconds behind me. So I could hear his footsteps the whole race. And it was kind of annoying that he was letting me do all the work up front, especially on the bike, because I was fighting the wind so he could draft and be arrow behind me without having to deal with the wind. And because he started to swim after I did, he had all he had to do was just keep me in his sights and be right behind me. He'd get a better time because he started after I did, but because he caught up, he didn't need to pass me. And in fact, no one passed me on the bike no one passed me, period. No one passed me on the swim, no one passed me on the bike, no one passed me on the run. But because he started later, he ended up beating me by like 10 seconds or something. But after so he came through the finish line like 6 seconds after I did. And the first thing I did was kind of turn around because I knew he was right behind me. You could hear him. So I turned around, we shook hands, we both smiled, we talked to each other for about 10 minutes, just about being a triathlete and what races we're doing, what we're training for. And even afterwards, he came back when his family was there and introduced me to his family. So he's a super nice guy. In fact, I think most triathletes are actually incredibly nice people, super welcoming group. They want to expand the sport and help encourage more people to do it. So yeah, they were super, all the athletes, all the competitors, super nice, the friendliest people I think you could meet right after a race.
How did you feel after the race?
I felt immediately after fine. It is a sprint distance, so it's a short distance for me. And it ended up being shorter than a typical workout. So as far as physiologically, I felt fine. And physically, I felt fine. And but then my stomach started cramping real bad about an hour afterwards, which is a sign of dehydration. So I basically ate Rolaids like candy and had the worst stomach pains I think I've ever had. And then afterwards, I also I didn't think I would, but I thought I'd just do another workout after that day for my training plan, and I was just exhausted. I've never been this exhausted after any race of any distance, and I was just done for the rest of the day. Ended up losing a day when I thought I'd have the whole afternoon to do whatever I wanted, but I was just so tired.
Were you happy about what you finished in?
No, I am not happy, but I should be happy about it. So I got 11th place out of 162, and
It said you were 12.
it did say I was 12, but then the person got he didn't finish, so it looked like he did it really fast, but that's because he didn't do all the parts of the race.
Look at Stephanie.
And so, hang on, he got disqualified, or he did not finish. So it looked like he did really fast because he didn't have to do the bike or the run or whatever he didn't finish doing. But then afterwards, when they review the results at the end, they cleared up. So they made that one 11th, and I got second in my age group. I don't remember. I don't. Maybe I got sixth in my age group last year, and I got 15th or 17th overall last year as well. So I improved my ranking, so I should be happy with it. It seems strange to say this, but because it was so windy, it really frustrated me, and so therefore I'm not happy because I felt like I didn't give a race my everything. So it's really is a bad feeling when you finish a race and you think, man, I could have done more and I didn't, and I feel like the wind prevented me from really putting down a bike like I wanted to, and so I'm frustrated with that.
Why did you sign up?
Well, I signed up for this race specifically, even though it's a short distance that I'm not going to race ever again this season. So I signed up for this race specifically through all that. It's just kind of, I call it a dust or rust cleaner. It's the first race of the season. So it kind of gets you used to going through the motions, doing the transitions, getting used to what it feels like to go swimming. And when you're horizontal, you're swimming, and your heart rate tends to actually be a little bit lower when you're swimming and exerting yourself. And then when you stand up real quick, when you climb out of the pool or out of the reservoir or the lake or wherever else you're swimming, your heart rate naturally goes up real quick, like 20 beats. And that can make people really dizzy quickly. So it is helpful just to get used to swimming and then standing up quickly and then going and walking somewhere where you actually you got to dry off, put your shoes on, get on the bike, so you can't be dizzy. So you have to get used to that. So the more times you can do that, it helps. So I really was just treating this race as a chance to reacclimate, get used to what it is to race, get the rust cleaned off, get used to swimming, transitioning, getting on the bike, and transitioning and running. So when you're training, you don't get a chance to really do all those things at one time. So it helps to do it in race practices.
This is the last question I have for you. Who is your racing hero?
My racing hero? Oh my gosh, no one's ever asked me that. Does it have to be a triathlete, or can it be any racer?
Any racer that inspired you to do racing.
Oof. Well, gosh. Okay. So I don't think anyone inspired me to do triathlons other than I read about it and thought that's going to be my year goal, is to do an Ironman. So that was really kind of I never swam outside of for fun at the pool or at the lake, and definitely never swam competitively, and never really rode my bike competitively. And I was like, yeah, I'll do a triathlon, and I'll do the longest distance they have. So that was kind of, I just did it for fun, and it just was like, hey, that happens. But after studying it and listening to other athletes, there are some who continue to inspire me, because I think I probably would have quit otherwise if there weren't people kind of sharing their journey. And the few that come to mind right away is Lionel Sanders. I don't think there's a triathlete who has a stronger social media following while also providing what seems to be a genuine and honest, candid review of what it's like to perform badly and hate it and still get at it the next morning and try it again. He at one point had the fastest Ironman ever, and he's won quite a few, but he is starting to age, and other people are getting a lot better. So he doesn't win as many as he does, but he gives it his all every time. And I think it's inspiring to see someone who, against all odds and how well they should do on the paper, they go in and do it as hard as they can and still do better than what was listed as what they thought they could do. So I think that's really inspiring. Sam Long also is good because he has a similar sort of approach with his training. And although he's younger, he came through the age group circuit, and he made a comment the other day that really stood out to me, which is like he'd been training. It seems like he came out of nowhere, but he'd been training for years. Just he wasn't a professional, and now he is. And it took those years for his training to be his body to absorb the training. I thought that was an interesting idea that you had to put it in the effort day in, day out for years. And that's kind of what Lionel Sanders says also, which is you need to, it's not, one good race. It's not one good workout. It's you have to string all of those good workouts and all those good races together. And that's what makes a difference. So don't get hung up on one performance. It's the culmination of all the efforts together.
Thank you for this interview.
You're welcome.